Right now we are looking pretty good here on the short term. Still expecting some volatility coming in. Yeah, right here you guys can see XRP is trading at $1.64. Looking pretty good. Still about the same as we are the other day. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know if there's any issues along with the stream as well. Trying to see here if we're seeing any big price action today. I'm not really for sure if we are or not. We are seeing gold and silver going back down again as well. Good morning, Eugene. Stocks are currently moving up and down too. That's probably the best thing that we've seen lately is got to be coming from that. Let's see. Yeah, right now we're really still just waiting on this volume and volatility that we see here today. I'm expecting some big price action coming. You got Solana back to that 105. Litecoin's coming back up a little bit here. Same with Dash. Some of these coins are currently up around 3 to 5% just on the day. HBAR was one of them that I had a pretty big goal set on. I think we're going to see probably like a movement like this right here as we get a little bit closer back to that 10-cent range on HBAR. Take a look at like a Pepe. I think Pepe is going to have a nice little pump. As long as it doesn't reject or anything big happen with Iran. Remember, guys, none of this is financial advice. Well, Eugene, I think we're heading back to that $82,000 Bitcoin. The $82,000 Bitcoin, I thought we would already be there probably Sunday, but I don't think we had enough volume for it. I don't think we had enough volume that day. But you can kind of see right here, Pepe's pulling a pretty similar trend. Same with Trump coin trying to come back up. The big thing with Bitcoin right here is you're kind of seeing that kind of inverted head and shoulders. That inverted head and shoulders would be nice to play out to at least that 82,000. 82,000 would also trigger a lot of short liquidations. So I think we're getting ready to see the liquidity grab as well. You see that we've hit that 74,000 again yesterday on Bitcoin. That kind of shocked a lot of people. It kind of shocked me too with the kind of volume. But the V-shaped recovery has pretty much recovered right here. That's getting us closer right back to that 79,000 on Bitcoin. You can see here we're also getting closer back to the neutral moving average. 78,000 Bitcoin is also the 36.2 Fibonacci retracement level of this drop from 85 down to 74. So this is going to be a clear picture next, because if we break above this, we're going to cross into a positive moving average. We're going to then break above this trend line, probably scooping back to at least that 80,000 very quickly. Once we scoop that, I think that 82,000 to around this 84 will be a good prediction for a lot of people. Because you got to think the shorts are going to be liquidated very quickly once we get to around 82,000 Bitcoin. That would be putting XRP roughly around the 170s. Yeah, it'd be around the 170s here if you go by percentage wise. But I do expect that XRP is probably going to retest around that 175. It does need to also do a similarity like we've seen on Bitcoin. That would be crossing the moving average, also breaking above this trend. If you do the Fibonacci retracement from the dump around the same time on Bitcoin from 85 down to 74, you would also get around that 175, 176 price target on where most traders will then decide to enter shorts. So that's going to be something that we have to take a look at as well. That's coming on the hourly, but on the 4 hour, you can see we've had a little bit of ups and downs. So we're not completely out of the picture yet. If you take a look at 4 hour Bitcoin, that's what you're kind of seeing here. Some of these price targets kind of playing out. You can see right here was the liquidity grab right here at 76.98. Then you got XRP. XRP's liquidity grab was around that 157. That's where it picked up a lot of liquidity. If you guys are just now tuning in, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps continue to let me do this. It also helps the stream get out to more and more people. You got Trump coin. Trump coin still been on the downfall. I still think Trump coin is going to come down a lot more from the all-time high. H-bar was one of the big plays that I've been playing for quite a while. We entered some shorts about 2 weeks ago on it, made some good money on it. But today we are seeing H-bar try to get closer back to that 10-cent range, which would then equal a little bit of bullish activity. Same with Solana. Solana had a pretty nice steadily climb here on the 1 hour, but I think we're also going to see it kind of push back closer to the 118. The 118 on Solana would be where a lot of shorts get liquidated as well. That would also cause them to have incentive to kind of do another liquidity grab on Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, as they are loaded in shorts. I think the ratio today is around 47% longs and 53% shorts, with shorts having a lot more trading volume than longs. So I'm expecting that some of them shorts will eventually be cashed out or liquidated probably within the next 72 hours. If you take a look at gold and silver, gold is down roughly around 4.4% today. Silver is down around 9%. You can see silver has been on the downfall ever since around $121 where it kind of peaked. Currently down over 36% just within 4 days. Coming over here, let's take a look at some stocks. S&P 500 is doing pretty good today with around a 0.45% jump. Taking a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is down 1.2%. ChargePoint's down roughly around 3%. Lucid Motors looks like 4% here. NEO roughly around 5%. Tesla's down today at roughly around 2.2%. Robinhood had a pretty big drop today. Robinhood stock dropped around 8.8%. Coinbase stock dropped roughly around 3.22%. Good evening, Light Sword. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Also helps the community grow. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below, and I'll try my best to be able to answer them for you. Right now, on the short term here, we are seeing a lot more shorts than longs, so really be cautious with that. You got gold, silver going down, but they recently hit all-time high, was pretty high in liquidity, so I'm expecting a big drop on it anyways. We're going to watch XRP here on the 1 minute. I think we're getting ready to see kind of like a head and shoulders play out, kind of just get roughly back down to around this 163.3. Nothing too major very quickly. On the 15 minute, I would love to see it not be a double top. I would like to see it kind of form more likely a cup and handle, kind of push back closer to that 170. When I take a look at Bitcoin on the 15 minute, you can kind of see that it literally wants to play just like an inverted head and shoulders. The only thing right here, we had consolidation. We didn't have a lot of well activity. But if you use that kind of as a right shoulder, I think it's going to play out identical, pushing us back closer to that 79 to 80,000. As long as we don't see any negative catalyst. There's none that's supposed to come out today that's all of a sudden. But with it being a trading day, we may see big activity. And if the House does vote on lifting the government shutdown today, that would be something that could also be pretty bullish. Yeah, it looks like Robinhood shares hit around a 7-month low today, down 9.2%. We had a public traded company, BitMine, bought around $97 million worth of Ethereum yesterday on the dump. MSTR stock dropped as Bitcoin had fell. Let's take a look at it here. So this is Michael Saylor's strategy. You can see his stock dropped roughly around 3% today, had a pretty big fall. Kind of trying to recover. I mean, with Bitcoin pumping, I think his stock will recover because that's going to be the way that it has fallen anyways. But you can kind of see the drop here is very, very hefty. Very hefty. A pretty big drop from 154 down to 136. That is the guy that buys a lot of Bitcoin. Because even when I look at the daily of XRP, you can kind of see how we've been moving. A lot of ups and downs. We've recently had a pretty big sell-off very quickly after we hit around that $2.40. So seeing something like this again would be very telling. If we start to see it here, kind of push back up closer to around that 170, 180 range, and then I would like to see us come back down, dropping exactly like we done here, like we done here, and like we done here, and here. These are pretty big patterns. Roughly, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're looking at almost 10 tops now, because you got this top too, if you count that small top there where the sell signal is. You don't really see it as much on Ethereum, but you see some as you come down, climbing down. A lot of stair climbing. This is where I see a lot of people, they make a mistake when they trade, is that they eventually think it's just going to bounce back up to the all-time high very quickly. It does take a lot of time. See, a lot of the trades from here to here and then here to here took quite a bit of a long time, all the way from May all the way till around September. So that's looking almost 4 months right there, just bullish activity. But ever since we've had this sell signal here, pretty much you're looking at 134 days, which would be around 4 months for a 50% drop on Ethereum. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Yeah, look at that. We're seeing huge support and targets being hit on Bitcoin here on the short term. Definitely on the daily chart. Just within like the last week, we've seen a pretty big drop. But this follows along with 2022. Let me go to 2022 here. See, if you come to 2022 and look almost identical to where we are currently. So this would be the current. So this would match with this, and then this part kind of matches along with this. So you can kind of see the three tops along with the first pump and then the pullback like you see here, then the run, then it peaks, then it comes back down. It's following almost identical, even with this part here and this part coming down. So that's why I expect more volatility coming down, because we're following a similar trend just like we had seen back in 2022, around the same type of 4-year cycle where we would be today. So that's something to definitely take a look into if you're now looking to getting in Bitcoin or any of these cryptos. Right now, the volume is really the biggest thing that's stopping a lot of people. A lot of traders are now using a lot of automation, price action, but the biggest thing with it, I think, in the long term is going to be how the markets are going to move along with the activity that we're seeing. Right now, we're seeing tons of different activity that we haven't seen in a very long time. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help out the stream. It also helps the community grow. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below. Right now, the market ain't really moving that much. We're seeing a spike on Bitcoin right now, though. Let's watch Bitcoin, as I think we're getting ready to see a big eruption up here on the upside. More than likely going to cause a lot of people to get liquidated of their shorts. Yeah, I'd like to see Bitcoin kind of really pop off. I'd like to see it get closer back to that 82, kind of liquidate some of them. Also, right here, you guys can see we're getting ready to see tons of liquidations. We've had over $783 million within just 24 hours. Around 188,000 traders have been liquidated in the last 24 hours. Also, if you take a look here, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index is currently at extreme fear. We're getting ready to be even lower as the crypto market is seeing a lot of fear in it. A lot of transactions are moving south. If you take a look at the altcoin season index as well, we're still currently in Bitcoin season. ETF net flow is still negative $762 million within just one day. Bitcoin dominance is currently going down as Ethereum is going to go up. The crypto market cap is currently sitting around 2.66 trillion. As if you want to take it in comparison to what gold has lost within the last 24 hours, that is roughly the price of the crypto market cap. So you can see how much the market cap could go up. The average crypto RSI is currently sitting around 43. And then if you take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, it's at 59.3% as Ethereum's at 10.8%. It's moved up a little bit since yesterday. Ethereum dominance has been falling ever since last month. So that's something that we do need to pay attention to. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you come and check out BTCC with the link down below in the description. You do get a 10% deposit bonus on your first deposit, up to $10,055 per user, and 40% lower trading fees. So make sure you do come and check that out. Bitcoin had a nice little pump there. Looks like it's going to be a bull flag forming here just on the minute. But let's take a look at the 15-minute. I think if we hold above this, we're still going to retest hopefully that 80 to that 82,000. Hopefully we don't see that big drop here coming around that 79 to 79.2, which we've pretty much been at today. Yeah, Max, Shiba Inu had a really good run. You know, it really did. If you take a look at it now, you know, it has its periods of when basically it pumps. You know, this was back in the day. You know, a pretty good pump. It started to drop. It dropped very quickly. Within about a year, it is back to where it is today. Consolidated for a very long time back in 2024. It had a nice little pump. Had a nice little pump again there on the end of 2024. But it's been pretty bearish ever since. Shiba Inu has kind of wandered off a little bit. A lot of the posts on X, you know, with Satoshi, all that stuff was kind of negative. So that was something that kind of really impacted Shiba Inu in the long term. And a lot of meme coins just right now have been seeing major drops. But I always knew it wasn't going to a penny, and I was kind of on that. Yeah, we was 24/7 for Shiba Inu for quite a long time. Yeah, I was live on Shiba Inu, I say probably months. 24/7. I did that with XRP during like some of the pumps. I did like the 24/7 live stream and then also trading it all throughout the day and trading stocks and stuff. Man, it looks like silver's coming back down again, currently down almost 10% on the day. Gold right behind it at around a 4.8% loss. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. We have 37 people watching with only 11 likes. Hitting that like button really does help out the stream. It also helps the community grow. Also, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think or want me to take a look at, as there's a lot of things opened up right now. Stocks, gold, silver, metals, all the way to cryptos. Even Microsoft had a pretty big drop today. Netflix holding pretty strong. Amazon's currently up around 2%. Yeah, Meta had a big pump, but it's still on the way down. I think it's going to fill that whole gap. Chainlink trying to get back to that $10 range. I really like when Chainlink's over that $10. I think it's still really a good investment in the long term. Remember, none of this is financial advice, guys. It's just entertainment purposes only. Currently, you got Pepe. Take a look at the hour on Pepe. Yeah, because the hour even on Pepe kind of still is kind of looking like that double bottom. You would kind of peak it right here, but if we continue to see this up climb here, eventually, that's around a 10% gain. That would be super nice to see. Dogecoin is also seeing a similarity here, kind of seeing that big pump. Right here would be the neckline. This is where it needs to close. It could see getting closer back up to around that 11.7, which would be roughly around 9%. That would be putting Ethereum closer back to that 25 to that 2,700 range if you go by percentages. H-bar is another one. H-bar, I think, is going to fill its gap very quickly as it's up over 8% on the day. I'd like to see it stay above around this 10-cent range. You got Bonk. I think Bonk is struggling in trading volume today. Same with Trump Coin. Trump Coin just has a lot of holders and not really any traders right now. It's being shorted heavily. Yeah, Bitcoin's right at that 79. We're bouncing on the support on 20, 30, 70 here on Ethereum. XRP is still looking good. I think we're going to see a little bit more of an up climb. Shiba Inu's moved around a percent there too. Solana's kind of consolidating still. Litecoin, I think, is going to be bullish in the long term. When it hit around that $58, I thought that was pretty low for it. Once we start seeing some bigger moves, I think that's when we're going to really start to see a lot of people kind of trading back and forth. Right now, market's only been open for about an hour and 20 minutes. About an hour 20. Yeah, it looks like H-bar is staying pretty strong. Same with Dog Elon. Dog Elon's currently up around 9% today. Dogecoin 5%. Cardano's still looking pretty good. I still think we're going to see a little bit of a pump coming on Bitcoin. It's probably going to take some time. Maybe after lunch today, we'll probably see some more activity. Right now, trading volume is still pretty low. A lot of people is currently trading a lot of stocks in the U.S. You can see here the S&P 500 is just bouncing back and forth. Apple stock looking pretty good. And GameStop's currently up around 7%. Coinbase stock had a nice little pump today, though. It recovered some off of its loss. Same with Robinhood. Robinhood's definitely trying to come back up. I know a lot of people who's opened up call options ever since we hit around that $90 range. Yeah, because I could see Robinhood going back to at least that 94, 95 if crypto pumps up a little bit. Solana struggling here, coming back down below that 105. XRP is doing a similarity here. I would love to see a cup and handle. I'm hoping it's not going to become a double top. Good morning, Crypto 8. Yeah, we're not really seeing much volume right now, making the market very, very slow. It looks like a small little double top here on Bitcoin. Not going to make too much of a big move. Crow coin is currently up around 4%. Oh no, it looks like silver's and gold's coming down a little bit more here. Silver is currently down over 10.5% on the day. Gold is down another 5.2%. If you're just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe, as it really does help out the channel. Silver being down over 10% on the day is huge. Gold down 5%. Pretty big numbers coming down on gold and silver. It's kind of really looking like a meme coin. Dropping 10 to 15% is kind of unheard of when it comes to like gold and silver. We've not really seen anything today on the government shutdown. Kind of curious to see what time that they're going to see us coming back in the house. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it's say it's supposed to have a vote sometime today. It's not really giving a specific time. They said they have a thing on the funding deal at 4 p.m. Eastern time today. So hopefully sometime around then, that's when we'll figure out when the government shutdown is going to be ended by Tuesday. So it could be even on Tuesday when it like officially ends. So is going to be based more off of meme coins. I mean, when meme coins does good, Solana does good, and vice versa. But the thing with Solana here is, you know, if you come back to April of 2025, you can kind of see we kind of bounced right here, but we're literally right back to exactly where we are, almost like a perfect triangle. A lot of people saying that this was going to be like kind of like a red and head and shoulders. As you can see, it follows a similar pattern to this side, and this side to this side. So you can see that it also has like 3 heads on shoulders, and it also has around 3 heads up here on top, and it's got 3 right hand shoulders as well. So that's something that a lot of people was looking to play out on. Dropping below that further on Solana, I mean, I could see it hitting as low as $70 to $80 range. But I'm still pretty bearish on Solana. I think eventually somebody's going to come over and take over Solana, and have their own kind of meme coin usage long term. But on the short term here, I still think that Solana is going to come down with Bitcoin, with Ethereum. But here, if we do see that pump Bitcoin to 82,000, which I think we will, we'll probably see it hit closer back to that 122 range where we have tons of resistance. Having tons of resistance there is really rough. Around that 122, Solana has a real hard time getting over it. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below. Just remember, I can't give any financial advice as I am not a financial advisor on YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, I would like to see XRP continue to go past the 164s, though. It needs to break out of this consolidation area, which I think it will. I just got to wait on the timing. The timing of it right now is going to be huge. Bitcoin revisiting its all-time high. I mean, I think, that's going to be possible no matter what. But you got to think Bitcoin going back to its all-time high is going to have some kind of reason for it to do so. You got to think, back in April of 2025, like I talked about Solana, it kind of has its peak kind of coming down, filling in this whole gap here. So we're just now filling in this whole gap. So getting back down to here, we've already lost over 41% gains on Bitcoin from the all-time high to currently where we are. So to get back from where we are to all-time high is going to take even more. It's going to take over a 69% gain to get it to around all-time high. So Bitcoin would need to pump roughly around 69%. But with Bitcoin, though, here's the thing. We currently are kind of in the same cycle like we seen in 2022, 2017, 2018. We're following a very similar trend like we have back in 2022. It looks almost identical to me, so I think we're following the same kind of pattern. And that's kind of what traders are going off of, that same 4-year specific pattern. Right now, we're currently in crypto winter. I mean, what they call crypto winter. Coming into the first quarter of every year is usually lower activity. You got people waiting on their taxes. You don't really see much from the government going on and all that stuff. So with it being quarter one, we're not seeing really any big transactions besides quarter four stuff. Quarter four stuff will be peaking whenever they do have their earnings reports. But right now, I do think that Bitcoin going back to its all-time high, I think we're going to see more of a drop before we'll see it go back to all-time high. But I eventually think Bitcoin's going to pump over its all-time high. I think Bitcoin's going to moon over time as long as the government and regulations don't stop that from happening. But you got to think, are you playing this the long game, the short game? Are you trading it? Are you holding it? Or what kind of trader are you, looking at? Because specific time frames matters a lot. If you're looking at something maybe 5 years from now, Bitcoin's going to probably see another bull cycle within 5 years. But for the short term here, I say probably within the next few quarters, we're going to more than likely see a consolidation phase, and we're going to see that phase where Bitcoin dumps. But it's a lot of the times that, you know, Bitcoin struggles. So it all really based off of time frames. Looks like I just sold some AMD stock and bought some H-bar. Let's see. See, AMD's moved up roughly around 4% today. That's a good little trade. Looks like Tesla's down. Also Robinhood. If you guys got any call options on it, you'd be up a little bit ever since I mentioned the call options around the $90 range on Hood. Robinhood stock is a really good stock to trade sometimes. Looks like Disney stock fell around 4% today, but it is quarter 1. So it's kind of to be expected there. Solana's still struggling. But here on the 1 minute chart, we're just waiting to see some volume play out. Because on the 15 minute and the hourly, we're not really seeing anything major yet. We're going to end up starting to see confirmation on one of them. Yeah, hopefully we don't see a pattern kind of like this here as we kind of come back down. More like a head and shoulders pattern here. Looks like playing out on Ethereum. Could be following a similar pattern here on Bitcoin. If we do drop below, that's going to liquidate just a little bit of the longs. There was a lot of longs got put in probably about 30 minutes ago, looks like, on CoinGlass with pretty high leverage. So, I mean, that'll be really easy to get liquidated. Just 1 to 2% moves will more than likely liquidate them. H-bar is coming down too. Same with Cardano. We're not really seeing much trading volume. I say you'll see more trading volume near around 1 to 4 o'clock today whenever lunch ends for the U.S. Also, whenever we start to see the stock market close, that might be a good time to definitely look back into crypto. Yeah, it looks like that head and shoulder is playing out. More than likely getting ready to see just a short-term dump. Very short-term, though. Looking on the 1 minute, so it shouldn't take but maybe 5 minutes. 15-minute chart also looks like it could be setting up double top here on XRP. Let's see. It's not forming a similarity on Bitcoin or Ethereum, so that might actually bounce us off this trend that way. Also, you got this right here coming. We're also super close here on the hourly to break out of this trend. Because once we cross on the moving averages here, break above this trend, more than likely we're going to see it get closer back to that 171 and then probably trying to retest around that 176. That would be best case scenario. Trump coins also kind of bounced up a little bit. Let's go back to silver. Yeah, it looks like silver is still down roughly around 10% today with gold at 4.6%. Pretty big numbers today, loss in market cap for gold and silver once again. Yeah, it looks like Litecoin's wanting to move up again. I'd like to see it pump here on the 15-minute. Looks like it's probably going to get closer back to around the 65 according to the 15-minute. It's breaking above this level here, this first resistance. More than likely going to have another target of around that 63 and then trying to get closer back to that 66. That'd be really good for Litecoin. I think Chainlink's going to do a very similar pattern, getting up closer back to that $10.50 to that $11 range. That's a pretty big gap in between the two, but $10.50 to 11 is a pretty big stretch. We fell pretty hard there as well, around the 11 to around the 10.50s. We got below the 10.50 very quickly. You're also seeing H bar on the 15-minute looking pretty clean too. It currently broke out of its first resistance, so I'm thinking a lot of these other coins will, and trying to push back to the next high just like H bar is here. That's going to be best case scenario, is to get above this level here for H bar. If it does, it's going to pave the way to a lot of these cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. If people start to use trend analysis and technical analysis on some of these, you'll notice that they'll follow a similar trend of another coin. Usually H bar, Dash, and all of them can be the outliers. BNB is also doing a very similar pattern. Solana, though, I'd like to see Solana break out, though. Give meme coins a chance to pump. They haven't really seen a big pump in a while. Bitcoin Cash also had a pretty big recovery today, over a 5% gain. ICP looks like it's got a bull flag forming. If you are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe, as it really does help out the channel. We're not really seeing any big moves, so there's not really much going on. Once we start to see some bigger moves, it'll get a lot easier to do analysis, as we got to wait on the hourly to kind of play out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below. Yeah, right now we're really seeing gold and silver kind of moving back and forth. Had a nice little V-shaped pump here. I think we're starting to see a little bit more uncertainty. Yeah, you can see a good around almost a 2% recovery on silver, and gold had almost the same as well, making that V-shaped recovery here on the short term. Bitcoin, all that still kind of consolidating, so we're just kind of watching, kind of riding it out. Eugene, I do think the bull market is pretty much over. I think there's still a lot of opportunity for the downside as well if you know how to trade the downside. I think there's opportunity coming. You know, you're going to have bullish days, bearish days. Like if you really take a look at Bitcoin, looking at it, you'd say it's pretty much been bearish for the last, 4 months. The bull market lasted a pretty long time if you kind of look at it from this kind of standpoint. Had a nice little pump pretty steadily. Over time, it's obviously going to, come back. But I think here on the short term, I do think the bull market is over. I think we are going into crypto winter. We're going to see some volatility and some volume. But, it's very slow pace. But it could easily change depending on the regulations. The regulations could cause the market to dump even harder. The regulations could cause it to pump. So that's something that we do have to pay attention to, is some of the catalysts that come behind crypto. Because in the other 4-year cycles, we didn't have a lot of the catalysts like we see today with the government, enforcing rules on crypto, enforcing new tax forms, etc. So that's something that we have to kind of get used to. I would love to see the bull market continue, but I think for the short term, we're in crypto winter. We're in that quarter one phase, and I think for the next few months, it's going to be pretty bearish. If not, find a way just to consolidate here. We eventually get to a point, even kind of in the bear market, where it's just up and down, up and down. And you got to trade the ups and downs. So it's really hard to trade spots. So that's when you got to trade futures and risk liquidity and leverage. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel and helps the community. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you do sign up for BTCC with the link down below in the description. You get a 10% deposit bonus on your first deposit above 500 USDT. So if you put in 5,000, they're going to give you $500. Extra bonuses up to $10,055 per user. You also enjoy up to 40% lower trading fees. No VPN or KYC is required. And you can use up to 500x leverage, which is huge. So make sure you guys do check that out in the link down below. You guys can also join our private Discord by signing up with one of these crypto exchanges that I have down in the description. Signing up with any of them works. And you'll also be able to get the same benefits as the 10% bonus, lower trading fees, and the $10,055 in rewards. No problem, Eugene. Yeah, it's just kind of how I'm taking a look at the market right now, is you got to be able to play both sides. Honestly, if you can learn how to play both sides, you're going to love when it dumps. You're also going to love when it pumps. My long-term portfolio looks rough when it dumps, but it looks good when it pumps. But at the same time, it's like, if you can kind of recoup on the short term and trading on the downside, you're going to make more in the long run than somebody who's just waiting for the upside. Do you see what I'm saying? So the upside potential only lasts so long, just like the bear market usually. Like, you got to think, we've been in the $74,000 range on Bitcoin since around 2024. So, I mean, we've consolidated above that 74,000 for quite a while. Dropping below it could be a big change, definitely for crypto holders. Yeah, I just try to use like trend analysis, find patterns, you know, from the past bear markets, figure out what dates are certain catalysts coming, and then just kind of trade day by day on the catalyst days. But when it comes to like trends and stuff, they usually play out identical. Definitely with the 4 year cycles. The 4 year cycles is something that's really has adapted over time, and I think it's going to continue the same way. The S&P 500's right back to that 0.5%, trying to go a little higher. GameStop another little pump. Robinhood stock. If you guys picked up those call options around $90, you guys would be profiting right now. We've got almost a 2% gain on it. Our call options up around 55%. It was a nice little gain there very quickly. Nice little pump on Robinhood. But I was kind of expected that to happen with gold and silver pumping along with the crypto market increasing. Yeah, Eugene, I think everybody was thinking that this one was going to be a super cycle. I would have loved for it to be a super cycle. You know, it's something that could still happen. You know, see some regulations and some rules coming down could paint a clearer picture for everybody investing into crypto. But at the same time, it's one of those things that you got to really be cautious on and worry about. Because if the super cycle comes, you definitely want to be positioned in. So that's why you got to make sure you know when every catalyst is. That when any big reason that it could pump all of a sudden. You got to be able to get in before the retail and the institutions. Because a lot of traders, they pay attention to all the single news all around the world. That what makes it really difficult sometimes. If you're just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. It also helps the community grow. And if you haven't, make sure you do check out BTCC, the link down below in the description. Signing up, you do get access to my private Discord for free, so make sure you guys do come and check that out. Also, you get up to 500x leverage. No VPN or KYC is required. Also, you get bonuses and lower trading fees, something really good to look into. Because the kind of exchange that you're on can matter a lot, definitely on your positions and your trades for spread and trading fees. Yeah, it looks like XRP is doing pretty good right here. Let's watch it for a minute. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below. Right now, I'm just kind of waiting for some big moves to happen in either stocks, gold, silver, or cryptos. Yeah, the S&P 500 is still trading around the same. Robinhood's kind of slowed down a little bit. We're getting closer to lunchtime, so that might be an indication why. Silver has pumped roughly around 3% just within like last, yeah, look at that. Gold has recovered over 5% just within 24 minutes. Look at gold. There's been a lot of traders trading precious metals. So that's one thing that's kind of taken volume away from cryptos as well. That they're moving over to like prediction markets, they're moving over to precious metals. They're basically following the money, which is smart. You know, at the end of the day, it is smart. But it can be very hard for new traders to do that. Stocks had a nice little pump though today. Something I am seeing on X right now, guys, is Coin Bureau. They posted White House calls cryptos and banks to the table. White House will meet with crypto firms and banks at 1 p.m. Eastern time today to discuss crypto market structure bill. So this could be something that, you know, give some positive news on cryptos, which would be super nice to see. If you guys haven't, make sure you do follow my X as well at Josh's_finance. I do post on X a lot, at least once to 3 times a day. We're still in extreme fear when it comes to crypto, though. The crypto market cap still at 2.66 trillion. Trading volume is right around 200 billion. If we look at liquidations within the last hour, it's only been 39 million, and that's $30 million worth of shorts. Within 24 hours, we've had over $778 million liquidated, with 186,000 traders that have liquidated in the last 24 hours. Whenever the government shutdown ends, that'll be something that'll be bullish too. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below. Remember, guys, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that does technical analysis on stocks, cryptos, and precious metals. Right now, XRP, a lot of the cryptos ain't really seeing much volatility. I mean, that's to be expected. You're going to have people kind of come and go, definitely with the market. Market conditions right now have recovered just a little bit. Gold and silver just bouncing back around. Tesla looks like it's starting to fall a little bit more here. Robinhood stock still pretty good shape, $92. Pretty big green candle there coming on the 1 minute on XRP. Look at that. Pretty big pump. Look like some well activity. Look at that. Pretty nice big candle right there. Yeah, right here. This looks a lot better. If you are just now tuning in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Let me know if you guys are bullish or bearish today. I'm still pretty bullish here, getting closer back to that 82,000. After that 82,000, I think after we get this liquidity grab, they'll just try to liquidate the longs next right after that. Yeah, right now I think everybody's just kind of waiting on the volume to pick up. Still kind of looking for some entries and exits, but I think right here on the short term, we do got to wait on gold and silver because gold and silver is coming back down here. It looks like definitely gold. Gold's seeing a pretty bigger hit than silver, unless silver is going to have a big drop right behind it here. That might be what's going on. Let me know what y'all think about gold and silver. Gold and silver is tanking. It's coming back down once again. Kind of just waiting on gold here. Gold's struggling. Looks like silver's coming back down here a little bit. Probably get back now that 10% loss on the daily. Even H-bar. H-bar's come down quite a bit. XRP's holding up compared to H-bar, though. H-bar peaked. Looks like it's come down another 2 or 3% there ever since we last looked at it. Bitcoin also doing a very similar pattern. Same with XRP. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help out. If you have any comments, just let me know down below. If you have any questions or if you want me to take a look at anything for you. Looks like XRP is currently moving still. I'd like to see it go a little higher. $1.65 still a good position for XRP. Liquidations are pretty much at a low here, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, Solana's, if you take a look at Solana, I mean, it's going to be really based off of meme coins. It's followed the same kind of pattern as we've seen here. You got the April 2025, same kind of peak. So it's following along with pretty much Bitcoin here, peaking, going back to its same low as it did previously, and percentage-wise. So it's something to kind of take a look at. Let's see. You got Solana doing the same thing here, kind of popping off, making this triangle shape. Getting down below would push it down further. I mean, there's possibility for a slight rebound, getting closer to the 120s using analysis, but you also got to think, you know, there's still a possibility that we may fill the gap down even further to around the $80 here, and Bitcoin going closer back down to that 65,000. So it's something that we do have to pay close attention to here on the short term. But I'm still pretty bearish on Solana. I still think we're going to have a short-term pump, 82,000 Bitcoin, probably around 170, 180s XRP, Ethereum, maybe around 25, 2600s. That would put Solana roughly around the 120s. If you're looking long-term on Solana, that's really going to be based off of meme coins. Like long-term meme coins, and if anybody really makes another coin that takes over, like meme coins in general, that would probably knock Sol out of business. Because, I mean, really the only reason why people hold Solana anymore is going to be for that reason. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below. Yeah, that's the thing about Solana, though. It really takes a lot of time and effort. Yeah, I mean, they could easily be picking up some utility coins. Yeah. Solana's really struggled, though. You got like the Pump Fund. If you take a look at Pump Fund, they've had a lot of issues this year. And I mean, I think they're going to have more issues. Meme coins in general are having a lot more issues. A lot of people is kind of steering away from meme coins as well. So that's another thing. Competition is increasing. There's a lot of different things happening within the market today that, when Solana first pumped back in like 2021, 2022, it had really good gains. But now it's more about stability and just the face of the meme coins. So that's kind of how I look at it. If you're bullish on meme coins long term, more than likely Solana would do good. But the competition for that stuff now is getting higher and higher. So that's something that I take a look at now as well is what are the possibilities? Yeah, I would love to see Solana go further, but I don't know. I think it's struggling a lot with that pump fund issue. 15 minutes still looking pretty bullish here on XRP. Same with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like to see Litecoin push a little higher. Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be the sports betting coin. Honestly, they're trying to work with Polymarket, but I think Polymarket's best interest would be able to make their own coin and do it that way. Because you got a lot of competition now coming in, and they're overtaking a lot of the big things that people first joined back in the day. Like if you really think about it, I mean back in the day, Solana didn't really have much competition. They kind of changed and adapted, but ever since then, they've really just maintained the number one spot. But there's a lot of competitors like Bonk, a lot of stuff that could be used. But like you got RL USD is trying to take over the USDC coin. You also got the USD1, which is Trump's. So a lot of these companies are trying to figure out how they can make it themselves. So they can pivot off of fees, trading rewards, transactions, and be the change, just like Solana was. So there's like little things here and there that, kind of makes you a little bit suspicious as crypto is growing. Which coin is going to be the next coin to really kind of pop off. Yeah, RLUSD is another big one. USD1 is going to be the WLFI coin that Trump uses. He's trying to make his own exchange and everything. So whenever you think about it, kind of in context like that, it's kind of crazy. It really is. Because if you kind of take a look at like Ethereum right now, it's also seeing a similarity, head and shoulders pattern. Stellar Lumen, Solana, Litecoin. Bitcoin is looking pretty good though. It's bouncing back and forth on this 79,000. We're getting ready to go to around lunchtime, so I say a lot of people will quit trading there, grab something to eat. Maybe some volume will happen. S&P 500 is kind of holding the same kind of position. Robinhood stock fell a little bit there at the end. Gold and silver seeing a pretty big plunge. Let me know what y'all think about precious metals. Looks like gold is moving a little bit too, currently around 4.5%. Dogecoin's coming down some. Bitcoin, pretty big red, probably following along with the S&P. Yeah, Dogecoin's coming down pretty quickly here. Yeah, H-bar is still struggling. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. Yeah, I mean, I already think we are in like an AI bubble. You know, the recent thing that's come out about AI, talking to itself, that's another thing that's kind of impacting AI a little bit. A lot of these AI companies are just feeding money around from the AI companies, borrowing from the main companies, just like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, Grok. All of those are playing out very similar. OpenAI. They're all starting to struggle just a little bit more. The economy is bad everywhere. So is the U.S. dollar. It's dropped quite a bit recently. There's also becoming more sellers and buyers in the housing market. Quarter one is pretty bearish anyways, usually. We're currently like in a 4-year crypto market cycle following the same trend like we did back in 2022. Yeah, I could see a big fall happening because the U.S. dollar is falling. Gold and silver is coming back down. It had its real all-time high peak. There's a lot of uncertainty still within the market, but you got to be able to trade, the good and the bad. But I do think there is future within the crypto market. I think we're going to get probably more rules and regulations on it, which will be a good thing and a bad thing. It will kind of just help us predict, what's next. Yeah, right now everything's just a waiting game. Like in the housing market, stocks, because stocks are pretty much at an all-time high. I really think AI is feeding a lot of it. A lot of money's been thrown around. The dollar, the yen, all that stuff's been coming down. We're going to have to see some kind of recovery in some of those things for assets to really pop off. A lot of movement right now is people just buying assets, trying to save themselves from the US dollar dropping. But a lot of the times when they do that, if they buy in like right at the peak and they lose that money, they're losing more than what the US dollar would have failed. So that is one of the big risks with it right now, definitely for new investors coming in. I think people's trading a lot of different coins. You got prediction markets now. Gambling is becoming more of a legal thing in a lot of states in the United States. So, you know, there's a lot more different saturations happening. More saturation isn't really a good thing. Right now, gold and silver is currently down around 8%. Gold's down almost 5% on the day. Yeah, it looks like Bitcoin, Ethereum's coming down too, starting to tank a little bit here. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Also, if you haven't, make sure you check out and see CoinGlass, because CoinGlass is currently showing 186,000 traders got liquidated in 24 hours. Currently around $778 million liquidated in 24 hours. And if you guys haven't, check out BTCC with my link down below. You can get extra bonuses, lower trading rewards, and you also get a deposit bonus up to 500 USDT. So make sure you come and check it out. The link down below. As the market is falling, it is definitely good to kind of get into a good exchange with good spread, with lower trading fees, and making sure you're taking advantage of all the bonuses that you can get. How's it going, Tony? Long time since I've seen you on the stream. Right now, just kind of watching the market, watching it fall a little bit here. Not moving too much. Gold and silver kind of consolidating. S&P 500's been around the same. I don't think we're going to see any big moves till a little bit later here. I still am bullish on the long term for a lot of these cryptos. But short term, I do think we're going to see a little bit of a pump and then more bearish activity, probably get down closer to 65,000 on Bitcoin. Yeah, right now the market's not really moving too much, so we're not really having much activity. It is a Monday, though. I've really not heard about that crypto. Not really heard about that crypto. We'll take a look at it a little bit later, though. Anybody in here trade meme coins? Yeah, Tony, it's sometimes good to do. Got to wait on the next run. Looking at it on the daily can be very exhausting sometimes. Definitely if the market ain't really moving or there's not a lot of price action happening. But yeah, you're welcome in the stream anytime, Tony. You can always join our Discord too. Always come and just chat with us on there. I know you're always in the Kogi streams as well. I haven't seen him in a while. If you guys are just now tuning in, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Yeah. Right now, market is very, very, very low. We're not really seeing much activity. You can see it just within the trading volume, search histories, all that stuff is really playing a big factor into this. Quarter one is usually pretty rough. Yeah, we're not too far off to 65K. I think 65K is going to be good consolidation level, good bounce. Yeah, I would like to see it go a little bit higher than that for sure. Crypto right now, though, is something else. You got the prediction markets taking a lot of volume from it, precious metals, stocks reaching all time high. Crypto's falling, so you're not really seeing a lot of people looking at it. Awesome, Tony. I'm glad to have you inside the Discord. Welcome to talk in there anytime. I posted a link for anybody who wants to join the Discord as well. It'll give you the free access to the Discord where you can just come chat with us. Yeah, Tony. Right now, the market ain't really doing too much besides like stocks and precious metals. So it's like, it's really good to sometimes be able to take a break, kind of relax a little bit from it. Yeah, I would like to see a little bit of movement from a lot of those. I think Clarity Act will be pretty good when it does come. With XRP falling, that's probably one of the big things we've not seen in a while. You got Trump coin. Trump coin is kind of moving very, very slow today. Bitcoin's first 15-minute red in the last hour. We are getting closer, though, to about the time for lunchtime. Whenever we come back from lunch, I say more than likely we'll start to see some more trading volume, probably some more price activity as well, along with other people checking it out. Oh, yeah, I think they're supposed to actually have a meeting or something like that today with the Clarity Act. Yeah, it could be, BK. Alrighty, everybody. I'm going to hop off here. If you guys do want to join, you guys can join the free Discord with the link down below in the description. I want to thank every one of y'all for tuning in and watching. I hope everyone has a good trading day.